Today I want to talk to you guys about how big your business can grow. So maybe you're just getting started, or maybe you've been in the business for a few years and you're just kind of trying to figure out how far you can go with it. How big can a window cleaning company become? And we're going to talk a little bit about that. So one of the things that can influence the potential size of your business the most is market saturation. And market saturation is basically how big you can get before you've completely saturated your market. Do I sound a little bit like Kamala Harris? Yeah. Let me clarify. So market saturation has to do with, say you have a population of 1 million people. If 1 million people live in a city, the odds are extremely low that the majority of them would ever book you for a service. So how much of them could potentially use you, and where do you kind of cap out? That's market saturation. Typically, home services or businesses in general, you can expect to or hope to plan to gain about 10%. Now, this is helpful in multiple ways. You may be servicing one particular neighborhood, and maybe there's 200 homes in that neighborhood. Now, you could expect, on average, to kind of plateau when you have 10% of those 200 homes, so 20 homes in that neighborhood. Now, can you work against that? Yes, you can do things to get a higher percentage. But even if you take 80% of the people who want their windows clean in one market, there's going to be a market down the road where you're not going to have anybody. And so it kind of works as a law of averages. So you can do that at a micro scale, where if you have 10% of a neighborhood, you kind of know you're tapped out. Or you can look at a grander scale, your city or your whole county. We call that the 10% rule. 10% market saturation is about as far as you would anticipate growth. And that's not a small number. If you live in a community with 10,000 homes, 10% of that is 1,000. So you take that 10% and multiply it by the annual value you can get from each customer. So with a recurring service like window cleaning, you might be strapped out at around $500 if that's all you did. But if you add something else, say gutter cleaning, that adds another $200 to $300. And then if you can get them to call you out more than once a year, say twice a year, you can edge that total annual revenue for each customer up to $1,000. If you have 1,000 customers that give you $1,000 per year, that gives you $1 million company in revenue. So don't balk at the numbers here. They're very helpful, and they show you how even if you're in a small town, you can grow a multi or at least $1 million business. So here's a quick drill you can do for yourself. To determine your market size, go ahead and research the total number of houses that you have in your general service area. For example, if there's 20,000 homes in your region, then you can estimate that your market saturation is going to be right at 2,000 homes. So remember, this is not based on the total population, but on the total number of houses. So the second step, take that 2,000 number, or whatever number you came to in your area, and estimate the number of dollars per year, the annual value per customer. If you clean windows and you service them one time a year and your average ticket is $300, then use $300. Calculate the average annual income now from each client, and the third step, take that number and multiply it by the 2,000 homes or whatever number of homes. So the number of homes times your average annual value per customer equals your total potential in yearly revenue. So in this example, 2,000 homes out of 20,000 at $300 per customer makes a total of $600,000 in yearly revenue. Now you know your potential, but that doesn't necessarily mean you know how to get there, or that that's where you want to get at all in the first place. Maybe you only want to get to about $100,000 in revenue. You can still reverse engineer from there. And I'll just give you a tip here. If you want to make $100,000, you're going to want to make sure that your revenue is closer to $150,000, because you're going to have all kinds of expenses that are going to be deducted from that revenue, whether it's marketing or car insurance or general liability insurance, the list goes on. I mean, our margins are usually pretty good for solo window cleaning operators or pressure washing operators. But it's good to have in mind if you're going to want to try to get financing for a house or a car, they're going to use your bottom line. And if you want that bottom line to look good enough for somebody to trust you with money, well, you're going to have to make sure it's big enough. Now, obviously, we can get pretty nerdy with these numbers, and I'll kind of just try to do a general example for you so you can use your own numbers and make your own calculations for whatever you want to get. And the good news is it's not that complicated. You can break it down as easy as what one truck or what one guy can produce. Hear me out here. One guy, solo, if it's you, you're going to be more productive than anybody else you hire. So one guy, I said, can make about 150,000 in revenue. That's kind of maxing it out. You have to have great efficiency at that point with your routing, and you're going to need to fill in your busy seasons maxed out, and then the slow times, you're going to still want to be filling in the gaps with customers who maybe you give them a special deal. Say they call you in the peak of spring, they're calling you at the end of May and they want to get their windows clean, but your prices are a little pricey for them. Well, you let them know, hey, I can fit you in. We're going to slow down in July and August, and I can fit you in and give you a 10%, 20%, $50 discount, whatever you're going with your business. And then that helps you kind of fill in those little gaps. And when you fill in those gaps, you maximize your potential, and you're going to be able to get up to that 150K mark. Now, if you hire one person, you lose a little bit of efficiency. Two people are doing the same amount of drive time. As a matter of fact, you're going to be driving more because you're going to be doing more work. So you're going to pay more time for people to be sitting in the seat. So you're going to want to optimize your route, obviously. And some places you're going to have to deal with driving more than other places. I'm in a fairly well-filled metropolitan area north of DFW in Collin County, and we've got over 1 million people in this county. Plenty of households to go around. And I don't have to worry about travel time so much. I just try to get multiple jobs in the same city on the same day, and my drive time can be almost eliminated down to 15 minutes between houses. So in order to make the calculations now, you can say, okay, 2 people, 1 truck, $250,000 per year. Now you can set up systems and automate things so that you can handle 2 or 3 crews fairly well yourself. But as you kind of grow, I have automated booking with a call center. I use Jill's office, and they're able to quote over the phone using Responsibid, which I pay for, and that integrates with my CRM, which is Jobber. And so over the phone, they're able to give a price, schedule the appointment, and the customer will be given a sequence of reminder emails before their appointment to confirm and make sure they're ready. So I don't have to do that. I don't have to pay an employee to do that. If somebody calls and has questions, they call that call center. It doesn't need to wait at my time at all, so I can stay fully focused on the work in front of me, or in the case of having multiple trucks, fully focused on making sure they can do the work. Now, 2 or 3 trucks, you can still do a lot in the field. You can get away with it these days with the technology that we have. It used to be if you had 2 or 3 trucks, you're going to drive yourself crazy because you're going to be doing quotes all day long, answering phone calls constantly. You don't want to miss any phone calls, so I'm not advocating for that. I'm simply saying you can pay somebody else to do that, which frees up your time and your bandwidth mentally so that you can focus on just the work and the service that's being performed, where you're really having your primary interface with the customers and building that reputation and helping them to trust you and recommend you to their friends and neighbors. And if you're doing this early on, it's kind of like you build a strong platform for your business to grow off of. If you have hundreds of reviews, you're going to be able to demand the highest prices in the market. That way you're going to be able to adequately pay any potential employees. And that's crucial because if you're able to hire the best employees, you'll be able to maintain the highest level of service as you're expanding. Whereas if you're not charging enough, you're going to be really price conscious when you're having guys go out there, and you're not going to want to pay them an adequate wage, and they're going to move on after a season. And then you're going to be back to training and wasting your time making sure that they're doing their job right and coming back for callbacks. So if you can get your prices right early on, dial it in so that you're profitable and you can pay somebody better than the other guys, well, you're going to put yourself in a really good spot. So it all comes down to one truck at a time. You don't have to worry about going from just you to 10 trucks. Just build up to where it's you and one helper. Or if you're already at that stage, add on one truck per season. And if you want to go for multiple trucks, you can still reverse engineer that. The way you're able to scale with a calculated measure is to look at how many customers you need to hit that revenue. So again, that annual revenue that you expect from each customer. You know, if it's at 300 and you need to get 250,000 in revenue, well, you're going to have to work a lot harder for customers than if, say, you were able to get 1,000 per year in revenue. So that's where add-on services are crucial. If you get add-on services and you can get that annual ticket up, you know, you're going to have, compared to $300, you're going to have more than 3 times the customers to get the same revenue amount as if you had $1,000 per customer. So if you can find ways to optimize each customer, and you know, you're not just trying to sell them stuff, but they have a house and their house needs to be taken care of, and you're going to help them take care of that house. You're their partner. You're like the Yoda and they're Luke Skywalker. You're going to help them to make the best decisions to protect their investment and keep their family in a home that's comfortable and looks great. Now, I want you to take just a minute. Think about what different add-on services you might want to add in your area. Maybe it's Christmas lights, maybe it's snow plowing, maybe it's gutter cleaning or pressure washing. Think of a couple of them and start brainstorming what you can do to give more value to your customers so that they can take care of their homes and you can help them do it. If you're able to help them get what they want, they'll help you get what you want. Now, if you're aware of your numbers and you know what your annual revenue is for each one, you're going to be able to figure out exactly how many customers you need in order to maximize the workload for one truck. So remember, I put that number at $250,000. That can change from market to market, but typically you're going to be able to figure out an hourly rate that will work for that number. And that's a fairly standard number in the industry right now at kind of the middle to end of 2024. If I know I can get $500 per customer per year, that means it's going to take 500 customers for me to make $250,000 in revenue. So I can backtrack and do my marketing, reverse engineer it, and figure out how to get that many customers. So if I'm doing postcards, this is where a money lever really comes in handy. If you don't know what a money lever is, a money lever is simply a mean of marketing or advertising where you can calculate and have a guaranteed reaction, or at least rule of thumb. So say you were going to do 1,000 door hangers, you would know by your response rate how many people typically call you back. Let's say you were 0.5% out of every 100 flyers, you have 0.5 customer call you in. Now, for math's sake right now, let's just go with 100 customers equals 1 call. So now your close rate matters. If you've been tracking that, that's helpful. If not, you need to start. So let's say for every 10 people that call you, 6 of them actually book you. So that's 60% close rate. So out of 1,000 flyers, you might get 10 calls and 6 of them would book. I can take that number, 6, and divide it into 1,000 because that's how many flyers it's going to take to get 1 customer. If we know we get 6 customers for every 1,000 flyers, we divide it by 6, and we come out to, we round it up to 167 flyers to get one customer. So now we can take that 167 and multiply it by the number of customers that we need. In this case, 500. We get the number 83,333. And that is the number of flyers we would have to put out if we're able to maintain a close rate of 60%, with the average annual value of each customer being 500. So you could almost take that to the bank. It's just, it's a plan that you have at least. You need to kind of adjust as you're moving forward, but you can kind of work it back from there, figure out where your peaks and your valleys will be, and prepare yourself so that in those busy times you catch every single dollar that you can, and then in the slow times you fill it in as much as possible in advance. Hey everyone, just a quick commercial break. I'm excited to announce that I'm creating a special community for business owners who are ready to level up their business. We're offering 2 exclusive tiers. First, there's going to be a school or Facebook group of some sort where we can help each other grow and support one another. And there's going to be also a second group, a more inner circle or battle group, where we're going to deep dive into our business and create a winning battle plan with accountability and community built around to nurture your vision and see it established in real life. If you're interested in joining either of these groups, go ahead and email me directly at ben@blueladder.com. That's BLULADDER.com with the subject Next Level. And tell me why you think you'd be a great fit. Remember, this is going to be an exclusive group with limited spots, so reach out today and take your business to the next level with us. Now, don't get ahead of yourself, because while the numbers are simple, the game of business is a little more challenging than that. There's no guarantee that you're going to get the response that you're hoping for or that you're basing off of. You need to do split market testing with marketing pieces. You do 2 flyers that look similar, see which one has the better results. You may have seasons where it just hits the door on the wrong day. It's raining, somebody's not happy, and people just don't call you back. But then if you hit those doors again, you might have a really great response. So you can't judge everything off of one test or off of just what one person said online. You're going to have to see what works for you with your branding, with your business, in your market, with you. So take your time, ease into it, start practicing with smaller sample pieces. Say you do 1,000 at a time of door hangers and measure the success that you have. See which seasons are working best. Obviously, you want to go all in if you can when it comes to the spring season, depending on your service, naturally. The main thing I want to stress for you about this is not to put the cart before the horse. There's always variables that are at work, and if you just kind of assume something's going to work before testing it out, you can put yourself in a pretty dicey situation as far as money's concerned. It's not cheap to do good marketing every day. I mean, you can do it for free, but hear me out. Let's say you're doing the freest method there is, going door to door. As you start getting busier, you're going to have less time. And so you either have to hire somebody to keep doing the work while you're going door to door, or you're going to have to suffer with the amount of volume that you can do. And so there's trade-offs for each thing. Maybe you're going to have a situation where you're extremely busy, but you're late in the season and you don't have time to train anybody. In that case, you're going to just want to maximize your time doing the work as efficiently as you can, upgrade your equipment if you need to fit in some extra appointments, and leverage your time to the best of your ability. Other times you may get so slow and no amount of dollars that you spend, like putting marketing budget into Christmas lights during January, isn't going to get you much of an ROI up front. Doing window cleaning flyers in the dead of winter when there's ice on the ground isn't going to get you ROI very quickly. So all these things you have to take into consideration so that you can grow carefully and considerately. Use wisdom, use diligence. There's appropriate seasons for everything. Try to get busy in the slow times with the preparation that comes for the busy times. Also keep in mind that the more you grow, the more help your people are going to need. you know, they have a tool that breaks on the job, or they break something and you need to interface with the customer, that starts pulling on your time. Ultimately, when you get to the point where you have 3 or 4 trucks, you're going to need to hire somebody who's able to just oversee those trucks and make sure everybody has what they need, that they're in the right place at the right time. And if somebody shows up, or rather doesn't show up because they're sick or they just disappear, they quit on you, you're going to need to have something in place to kind of do damage control and keep things rolling as smoothly as possible. So if somebody's there who can kind of be like a rover and make sure guys are being babysat when they need to be babysat and filled in for when that needs to happen, that's just going to take more time and more money of that overall revenue. So the goal is to get to around 4 or 5 trucks and hire somebody who can oversee that while you focus on doing the sales and begin to really work hard on implementing systems and leveraging things in your company that will help to make things more efficient so that you can grow more smoothly without dropping the ball on customers. Because remember, you've got to maintain that good reputation that you already established with your customers, that you had to work so hard to get all those 5-star reviews. You got to make sure your employees now are well trained and know how to deal with the customers in a positive manner where they're going to want to stick with you and stay customers for life. So let me know if this is helping or not. I know it's a lot of information to kind of pack in, and it can take some time for you to really catch a hold of a lot of the principles here, but growing a business really is that simple. I just want to reassure you, if you're maybe doing window cleaning right now as a side gig, or maybe you've been in business for a little while and you're kind of finding your way still, maybe you're hiring people already, there's a lot of hard work, but it's not that difficult, or it's not that complicated. Very simple steps when you have a clear end in mind, and you can easily reverse engineer whatever final destination you want to have. One of the keys, you got to know what you want. And I know everybody talks about knowing your why, but you got to know the purpose for what you're doing. Helps you know what you're after, what you're going to achieve. Guys, there's an expression I like to say a lot, maybe too much, but you can't build a bridge unless you know where the other side is. You got to know where it lands. You can't get to a destination if you don't know where you're going. When you can figure out where you want to be in 10 years, it's much easier to chart a way to a place where you know that exists than to simply meander about and just hope that you wind up someplace better someday. It doesn't happen by accident, at least not how it could happen. You may have to accidentally find your way, and if you do, it's going to take 10 times longer to get there. But if you take the time now to think about what you want to achieve, how large you want to grow, you can begin to build it out one piece at a time. And it goes back to the whole method of how to grow a business. You know, number one, you want to find a couple of ways. 1, 2, maybe 3 at the most is all you need. Ways to attract customers. And it could be postcards, it could be Facebook ads, it could be Google ads. You know, it's good to dabble with a lot of different things at any given time, but to have your 1 or 2 reliable, I'm going to pay $50 for every lead through Facebook, or send 1,000 postcards, get X amount of customers. You get those systems dialed in. That's number 1. Number 2, figure out how to make the most of each of those customers, whether it's scheduling them more often or adding services so that you maximize the dollar amount. Maybe you're going to hire people as you grow and figure those things out, but the simple elements remain the same. Once you get your first truck going, you do the same thing again, only now you're going to have a better reputation to build off, so the next step is going to be a little easier. You get to a few trucks, now you have your kind of hub, you can start hiring middle management, or ideally promote some of your loyal guys to take those responsibilities and get to pay them a little bit better for doing a much bigger, more important job. And as you grow year over year, it's those same core elements. That initial hub of 3 to 5 trucks becomes kind of like your headquarters. Ideally, as you're training guys, you're raising them up, they're taking leadership roles, somebody steps into the marketing stuff, maybe one guy has an affinity for sales and he's a good closer. Maybe you get somebody who's just really good at training guys, and you just let people find their spot. The guys that you hired initially who maybe were just out of college or skipped college and wanted to hang out with you. It could be friends, family, it doesn't matter. You build the system around you that makes you enjoy your life with the people that you're around. And you have that flexibility when you're building your own business from scratch. You don't get that when you go get a job somewhere else. At least not very often. Culture is a big thing, and you get to create your own. You cherry pick it to make it exactly how you want it. You established a DNA from the very beginning. And then once you get those 3 to 5 trucks, you could grow from there. The opportunities are endless, whether you want to have another hub, another county over, or maybe you're in a big metroplex and you just can grow to have 20 trucks. And then you plant another location. A couple of your guys say, hey, we're going to move out of state. We're going to go to this other place. Maybe you open up another branch with them and you let them be part owners and you support them as they begin to grow. And it's the same system again. You have this central hub with dozens of offshoots, and each one you can dial in the numbers and know how efficient each truck is going to be depending on the service and depending on the seasonality, and there's going to be different ebbs and flows in any market, and some markets are going to have more challenges or different challenges than other markets. And so you have to adapt continuously, but that's part of the fun of it. That's why you get into business, because you like doing those little problem solving things that show big results. You get to play a game in real life where, when I was growing up, I would always play Sim Tower, where you'd build a hotel and you'd have different types of rooms, whether hotel rooms or apartments, and you had restaurants and people complain and you try to make it better. So, there's so many different role-playing games out there that people will do, and you get to do it in real life and get paid real money to do it and make real people really happy and help other people just level up in all kinds of different ways. So I hope that encourages you. You have the capacity. It's not rocket science. And arguably you might be able to figure out some rocket science. There's other things that are harder than rocket science. But all that to say, this type of business, anybody can do it. You might need a little extra helping hand from people, but there's so many people out there who are good people who want to help you. So just start doing it. Just exercise yourself, stretch yourself a little bit further, and you'll be shocked at how far you'll go. Keep up the good work. Keep your chin up. I just want to encourage you. You've got this, buddy. We got this together. I'm growing, you're growing, we're all growing together. Just drop a message if you ever need some encouragement, but you guys take care now.